studying our cut-ups and looking at the season. And I'll just give you what we did this year and what our direction, our trends are. How many of you run the wing tee? How many of you are here to defense it? Well, if you get the place where you're not getting anything out of it, you want to hear something else, just tell me. Because I'm really anxious to play golf. It's been a long time. We could talk about golf and putting, whatever you like, just as long as you're happy, because when I finish, if you like it, tell Bob maybe bring me back down there sometime when I'd have more time to play a little golf. So first of all, let me tell you I think you'll be surprised when I'm finished what we're doing, because I mean some of it looks like wing tee and some of it wasn't. I was with the very beginning. As a matter of fact, one night I said Harold Westerman, who's retired down here at Vero Beach at Bent Pine Country Club, said, this is way back. This is the beginning of the time. This is when your grandfathers were in college. I said, you know, if we took that formation, we put spread and end out there, one of those guys would go out there with them. And he says, you're kidding me. I said, well, what are they going to do if we put him out there? Somebody's got to go out there with him. He says, what if they don't? What if nobody goes out there? We'll throw him the ball. He says, you mean take the ball from here and throw it all the way out there? And I said, well, yeah, we could try that. So, you know, I came in at the very beginning of this, and you'll see we're doing a lot more. And we've had 3 NFL quarterbacks that when we had them, we threw a lot. Gannon is the latest one, the guy that's backing up in Kansas City now. We've had guys that could run like the devil. We ran more option with them. We do a lot of things. But the basic reason why we've stayed with the concept of the wing tee is because it's a 4-back offense. We have that extra guy there. And theoretically could fake to one could carry the ball, the quarterback would go in another direction, and then you got a blocker. And as you do this, you share skill responsibilities. So that when you start, you got a guy spread all the way out there and a guy spread all the way out there, they have to be better football players than if they're in playing close. And then the quarterback has to be a better football player to get the ball to him and do all the things he has to. And you get the place where you don't have as much talent as you like, you can share the skill responsibilities and still get the job done. The other thing is that we work a lot on establishing a defensive conflicts, and that would be described as if a defensive player reacts in such a way to stop a particular play, he makes himself vulnerable for a companion play or part of the series. So it's series or sequence football. Everything is wrapped together. It's 4-back offense. I have a book out, The Wing Tee, An Order of Football. And by the order of football, all I mean is that it's a total program that involves teaching style, technique, numbering system, approach to the game. Then when you get to X's and O's, it begins with a 4-back running offense, and then because unlike the wishbone, we've got people on the line of scrimmage. The wingbacks are up on the line of scrimmage and give you at least a 3-deep threat of passing. And there's the original formations. That is after we decided we're going to spread an end once in a while. We're talking about 1955. Is anybody alive in 55 here? Anyway, we got the spread end, so we now have a spread end. And you see the basic formations at top. And believe it or not, we went back to that this year. We went back to that this year and used it very, very successfully. There are 2 feet split by both guards and tackles. There's a 3 feet split by the tight end. The tight end can split up to 6 feet. from that basic formation at the top. The wide out is spread from 1 hash mark to 2 yards outside the other hash mark. Keep that adjustment. The fullback and left halfback in this picture, their toes are at 4 yards. The wingback is 2 yards outside. His right foot is 2 yards outside, a normally spaced tight end, and his nose is 2 yards off the ball. He's back a little bit, so he's got an angle to block down, and he's in a nasty position there. Linebackers don't like him. He's also no wider than 7 yards, so that he can block below the waist. I guess in the Federation ball you can't block below the waist from the wide out at all, can you? And I don't know what the rules are in Florida, but some of the Texas and so forth, Massachusetts, but that isn't necessary. But he has a great angle on linebackers too, from that position. And the guards and tackles can widen out to 3 feet and will it on certain occasions. And then, of course, the same thing happens where the spread end is to the wingback side, and that wingback is in the same spot as he was. So that if there's just an imaginary tight end there, that's where he begins his action. These guys are the same. And then it's a flank offense. So we're creating flanks. Flanks create angles, blocking angles, so that this represents a certain type of threat. This is another one. This is another one. And so you have four flanks there. And then when we go with the two wing backs, then you find out that we have the advantage of that flank there and the advantage of this flank here. And we've gone to something that I really like this year, and that's what we call step 2. And that's where the wingbacks are both up on the line of scrimmage. Both of them are up on the line of scrimmage, and then they step back or stay where they are based on what we're doing. And that in itself is not too exciting from that formation, but when you start to do that, and what's happened is, if I ran a basic football play, say from here to this flank, and this guy is running an out cut or going to cut off, why can't I take him and put him over here and make it unbalanced? And everybody else is doing the same thing, but you've added a new dimension to that. It's harder for them to get tough, hard support off the outside, and so we're probably unbalanced 55-60% of the time, in one way or another. Now, we were blessed this past 2 years with 2 exceptional wideouts. They're the best wideouts probably we've ever had. One of them runs almost as fast as I do. He claims he ran a 4.29. Well, he can go out and claim what he wants, but I'll tell you he's fast. And we had another kid that runs patterns well, catches the ball well. So why keep them both on the bench? So we went to this formation, and with 2 wideouts in a ball game and no tight end. And then we figured if you can go unbalanced from like this, when you do that, of course, the tight end is ineligible, okay, because he's covered. But if I step him up and this guy back, then I got trips over here. And the same thing is true here. This man is ineligible. But if I step him back and this one up, then he's eligible, but he's ineligible. And if they're both on the line, if they're all on the line of scrimmage, and they step back at the last second, you only get 1 second, and boom, you let it go, and you can have a lot of fun. That is, if the left halfback is up, the outside guy's back, you've got trips. And okay, let's get into the. Would you believe? I will draw our best play, our best statistical play this year. I had trouble believing it, but we started out with the idea we're going to use it only if somebody doesn't pay attention to the wingback. And we ended up, Kemsky, our offensive coordinator, came in this last week and says, guess what our best statistical offensive play was the buck sweep. Now, do you see this defense? Everybody on our schedule used this defense. Do you see this? That's the Miami 4-3. Okay? So we're going to run the buck sweep, and the first thing we're going to do is spread that tight end. And he wants to spread just wide enough to make that end feel uncomfortable. Now, he's getting a hole in there. The end starts to look inside. He's getting ready to go inside and then stop. And then the wingback stays where he is. The wingback's responsibility is to block the first free man that was inside. And I really mean that as he's going to go right down tight. And if that end is there, he's going to block him. If the end disappears, he moves up and blocks the first free guy he can block. I'm anxious to show you some pictures of this later. Gap down backer. The tight end is going to go down. If that stud, I got an S for a stud, that's our guy up there. If that S gets his nose up in there like that, he'll block him. If he won't, he'll go right on to the middle linebacker. And if this, we call him a little E, but anyway, if he goes in and spills off of that thing to get down in there, then our wingback will let him go and he'll move on up and block the first thing he gets an angle on. If the safety runs out of there, our stud runs out of there, he'll let him go. They'll all wall off inside. Now, very carefully, this tackle's assignment is gap down backer. If we start the ball game off with that guy in a gap, we're going to block him. But if we find out that he's sitting there and he's concerned about the fullback going up the middle, we'll go right to the backer and just leave him standing there and not block him at all. So it's conceivable you'd get that. Now once again, if he spills, you use that term, and goes in there like that, the tight end will just take him right on down and close it right off. And the wingback will do the same thing. And the front side guard, we call him a 4-man. We number, that's why the picture's like that. Our right tackle, we refer to him as a 3-man, and the right guard is the 4-man, the center's the 5-man, and so forth. He gets 2 yards of depth, and as he pulls, he looks for the wingback's block, and that's the thing we're getting most of the time. And the front side guard just kicks him out. And the backside guard goes a little flatter and tries to get around, and he gets part of the wall off. We've changed the center's assignment. The center assignment was always reach right for 121, for the buck sweep to the right. Now, if that gap is threatened, he'll reach. If it isn't, he'll block back, because we know that and that fullback going up the middle will freeze that middle backer. It will also freeze him. The backside tackle runs and kicks out. Now look what we've got now. I got a wall off there and a kick out there, and that one of these guys in there with the wingback's block is in the middle of that thing. The quarterback reverse pivots, keeps the ball close to his belly, hands it off, and that left halfback will run out there and he'll give the impression that he's going to run the whole thing. He's going to sweep the whole picture, because very often we get somebody there and a safety man there. And we want them to be concerned about getting to the outside so we can hold him long enough to let that ball carrier turn up in there and then go on his way. The quarterback fakes a bootleg, and if he's over there, he fakes an out cut at 12 yards. Now, once again, I can do the same thing with that wide out over there, driving this thing off in there to soften that support. Now, one of our most successful plays inside has been giving the ball to the fullback. And we call it foregut, and then that last digit is the one where you say the foreplay, where you look at the right guard, he's the foreman, he starts it, whatever. Well, on foregut, the front side guard pulls, and the three-man goes right to the backer with a little bit of influence on him. The backside guard turns and goes through the hole. These people are faking the sweep over here, and he turns up to make sure that end doesn't get fall into the play, and the fullback just runs up the chute. I'm anxious to have you see the picture. 3 years ago, this was our best football play. We ran it on the goal line, we ran it everywhere. Give them the ball up the chute. And invariably, today, everybody is just penetrate. They just take off in there. And they leave some enormous holes in there. This is 124 gut, and it's well worth the investigation. Now, yeah, he'll go right down. If that stud is there, he'll block him. If not, he'll get in the middle and turn on upfield, just like this. He'll go down, if the stud gets there, he'll block him. If not, he'll just move right up in there like that, in that position. Now we'll run him in the middle and try to get some form of blocking there. And he's doing the same thing. You all right? And like I said, we call it 124 gut for those of you who followed our numbering system. Now we'll also run this guard trap. And see, in the huddle, we'd call that'd be 124 gut. Or right 124 gut would be unbalanced and run that play. Four-man always pulls. And then if we get an eagle off that backside, that is, if you get somebody back here, then the six-man won't pull. You just block him like that, and the five-man will still block the nose man, and then the fullback will go up there and run to the open spot. Okay, now that's as good an example as I can give you of a defensive conflict. That's kind of a pain in the ass, and our coaches, when we scrimmage, please don't run the gut today. We're trying to teach this guy how to play, and you know you're going to bother him by doing that. And the next shot off of there is the down. And I'm trying to develop, once again, I'm trying to develop these conflicts for you so you've got an idea of what I'm doing. Once again, if you got any questions, be sure you let me know. Once again, we're going to start the same way. So that end, that little E there, he doesn't know. That's the same as sweep to him. That's that same stuff that's been happening. And once again, if the stud gets on up in there, the tight end will block him. If not, the tight end will go to the middle backer. Will get contact influencer as quick as he can, and he gets to the backer. Now we'll definitely block that tackle. The guard will pull and kick out. Now I've got him deep there so you can see it, but he'll go right on up in there, use his right shoulder, and kick him out. The fullback's first step is for the inside leg of that two-man. Just get fallback motion to get out there into the pitch position. Reverse pivots flat, fast, hands the ball off. There is no reading. He's going to give the ball. If we've called 82, this is called 82 down. If we've called 182 down, he's going to give that ball to fullback. Now, fullback takes the ball. If the end spills, that is that tight, that little guy, little E in there. If he spills by coming in to close that, turn his shoulders on the fullback, just skid to the outside. And the quarterback must fake that option fake behind it. Okay?
Coach, if he spills, you block him down, the guard come around?
The guard will, if he doesn't see him, he'll turn around. Now, that we would do on the run. If we can see that the stud is stepping up in what we call a creep position, he's coming, sneaking up in there, and the tight end says, I'm going to block him. He tells the guard, I'm going to block him. Now the guard's a little bit looser. He knows that he might have to wall off and turn inside. Okay? Now, everybody else fires off the backside. That's here to stop him from doing that, here to get that, and here to be in that position. Once again, to the cutoff. That's 82 down. Now, this could also be red 82 down, where he goes from there and leaves in motion. Okay? It could be, I'm getting in this a little fast, it could be M 82 down, which means this. We'll start that motion and run him back this way for whatever reason. We'll talk about that a little later. That's a real advantage. We start running the option. If we used M, it would be that. If we, I don't want to give you something that, if we use Z, it means everybody goes the wrong way except the fullback. Now that's, you can't do as many things off that, but if you got somebody that's really queuing you up in there, you can run Z, run the halfbacks the opposite way. You can run M, where the original guy goes in motion back to his original spot and then goes back the other way. And this could be right, unbalanced 82 down. Okay? Now we're going to find out what they're doing in that corner. We're going to find out how are they reacting to that, and we'll run the down option, which wasn't really great this year for whatever reason. We were I don't want to be silly about this. We were second in 1AA in rushing, and I think third in total offense. So, but this particular thing, or that is the option off this, wasn't that good this year. Here's what the option would look like. He would go down, he would go down, he would go down. What's that look like? The same thing we did before. And we want to reverse pivot, so you can't read this. So we've designed it. The front side guard now will pull and will log like you talked about. Now he's assigned a log. Now he's going to he'll go right at him, use his left shoulder and pin him in there. And the fullback will go very sensitive about being hung up, because he starts like this, and if that thing starts to spill, he'll just skid to the outside and he'll block the backer if he's there, or go right to the free safety. So we're getting that. And the same action here with this. And the quarterback will ride flat and fast. Now he's going to keep the ball. Listen carefully. He rides the ball like that. If he doesn't want to be any deeper than 3 yards max. And if he sees this end come upfield, he's going to turn right in behind it. He's very sensitive about that, because once you get outside that end, then it starts to get mushy. And the end, incidentally, is the third guy at the flank, what we call a third guy at the flank. The third guy at the flank, starting the outside, I'll show you that in a minute, starting 1, 2, 3. The third guy at the flank is the one who handles the quarterback generally. going to be responsible for the quarterback if he keeps the ball. And a loaded option is where you block number 3. Okay? So it's very important that this is the, I'll show you the other options we run, but it's very important that you do not, the quarterback does not pitch the ball until 3 is on his back or he's past 3, but never pitches the ball inside of 3. So with a loaded option, our quarterback is anticipating that he's going to turn up inside that block of the guard and just go right up there. Then flatten out and then pitch if it's there. If the pitch is there after that, then he would do that. So, and once again, this could be, we call that red, where we go with the wing back. If he's out of there, the tight end is over. That's right, 82 down option. And he would just drive off. If he got out there, if the end did spill and he stepped out there, then that strong safety, the guy that came up in there would be the he'd work the pitch off of him. Is there, one again, if you've got another defense you want to see in these run against, I'll be glad.
Go against 5-3.
5-3. You mean the 8-man front? Now I assume that we're going to get a backer there and an end there. The backer out here and the end here. Okay? He's going to go down. He's going to go down. He kicks out or logs. This guy with, if we get 2 people there, he'll release to the outside. Goes after it. He'll either go on up in there for the free safety or outside of him. And you got a real, they've got a, the defense here has a kind of a tough problem in that this guy on the end has got to seal that hole off, but he's also got to control the quarterback. So if you can work on him, and I remember the first year that we ran this play, I said to the quarterback, if 3 gets involved with a fullback, come right back with the option, keep the ball. If 3 gets involved with a fullback, he seals down. And in our opening sequence, this is one of the few times in 30 years that we've broken the opening sequence. He was out there going like this, oh! So we ran the option on the second play, and there's nobody there. So they've got a problem. Now, if you want to, I got the chalk, and I'm going to move the ball. Okay, are you with me? We've been stopped by everything, and I've been. Is there anybody that's really got it kicked this year? Well, I've had mine kicked, and I can tell all those numbers. I've been humiliated like everybody else. But if you get, the next thing I do is I bring that over and do it unbalanced. Now they gotta start to soften up somewhere, and it gives you a little bit more time to do it. See? And incidentally, nobody. We haven't seen an 8-man front for 15 years. And they just don't try to do it. It's just because of that. That 3 is in. The other thing is throwing a ball in the flat. You just ride a ball, come on out and dump the ball in the flat. They get those 8 people up there, and we can talk about that later. Now I want to show you I might just use this. It's not a bad picture here. I want to show you the Sally. The Sally is a staple. Now, what I mean by a staple is we're going to run that buck sweep, incidentally, that first play they put. That's a staple. We're running from every formation there is. We're running from 2 wide outs, run it to a spread end, run it to spread end and wing back, everywhere. And those numbers I gave you, that includes the whole shooting match of the buck sweep. So we run it against everything. That's a staple. The down isn't a staple. That down, the fullback, the quick fullback up there, we only use that if it's there. The fullback up the middle is a staple. And we'll run it gut, on, and guard trap. And against even spacing, we'll pop it out a notch and go to the next hole out also. So we got a complete operation of that fullback up the middle. That's a staple. The sally is a staple, which is it's a scissor. It's a scissors reverse. But the thing that's been so great about the sally is that two things. One is the better defense that you play against, the more responsive they are to your linemen moving around, the better the play seems to be. This is it, we'll run it from several different techniques. I've got the 80 on there, so we'll do it with 80. We're going this way, and the 5-man, the 6-man, the 7-man all step and cup, because we're going to throw off this also. You know, riding the ball to fullback. They all step and cup. And often when this end sees that, he says, I got to contain. That's going to be a pass. I got to contain. That's one of the moves they make. And then that nose man, he sees action going that way, so he starts to move. The backer starts to move. These people block firm in here at the attack side. They're going to kick out. But 3, if there isn't anybody on him or near him, then he'll move and he'll go that way. He'll go this way. He'll go that way. The quarterback is going to reverse pivot, ride the ball. I must be still on an airplane. I meant the tight end is going to go that way. He'll block and then take off. Wingback takes one jab step and comes back. The quarterback gets some depth to make that fake, steps up, hands him the ball, and lets him run back in here. Now, one of these 3 people is going to release on the backer. In this, if they do just exactly as I have in there, then it would be the 6-man who would release on the backer and start to look to the outside like that. And then the wingback who carries the ball first checks the nose man out. The nose man just penetrates in there. He'll just turn upfield. But as long as the nose man isn't there, then he comes back and he reads this release. And then he runs the sally. We also now have a pass off that where he comes back this way and the wingback comes back to block to him. We can talk about that later. That's not really on this agenda. All right? Now once again, when I say it's a staple, I mean this. We'll run it from the wingback. We'll run it from the dive spot. We might come this way and run it to that dive spot going back in here. We'll run it to the tight end, the spread end. We'll run the 40 option down the line where you ride the ball, the triple option look, step back and run it. It's a staple. We're going to run it from every formation. We run it from sprint out pass, give it to the fullback with that sally blocking back in there. And we've been quite pleased with that. Now, now the cross block is another staple. And that's what's coming up now. That's the fullback belly. And it's almost an offense in itself, and we spent a lot of time with it. And originally, the original blocking looked like this. The tackle would block down, the guard would block out, the left halfback takes a step and runs through the hole. Either the guard or the 3-man steps through that way, and the fullback reads him. That's the original cross block. And it's, I mean, we still use that at times. Now, if this is odd, like this, he would block there, he would kick out, the tackle would step through, and he'd still go there. And the fullback's technique is to, his first move is the flat one. It really looks like he's going to take off. Opens up, crosses over, puts his hand up to take the ball, turns up, and he gets the ball about 3 yards from the line. If it's odd spacing, he reads that guy. If it's even spacing, he reads the guy on the guard, and then he just winds back. I've got some pictures of that I'd like you to see. Okay, now, here's the development of it. We find that we've got people sitting there, like that hawk, that H, reading our dive man. If he goes inside, he goes inside. If he goes outside, he stays out of there. So when running the cross block, the first thing we're concerned about is for the guard not pulling if there's a guy in his gap. So he would call his pull off if there's somebody in the gap in here, so that if he pulled, it would leave a big hole in there. So he's going to be ready to block down and call that pull off. And now, the next call he would make is if he finds that he doesn't have to sell out on that nose man, and there's nobody out here for a pulling guard to block, as there is in this picture, then he yells off. And with an off call, this halfback drives right off the outside and blocks there. And now the technique of the sixth man, the left guard, is going to be what we call chip. He's going to hit that nose man, straighten him up. The center will scoop in there with his right shoulder in this case. And then the sixth man will move on up to block the backer. And the center is scooping him, and we'll still get the wind back hole from there, from him. So those are the moves that we made for the cross block. And once again, you're getting that picture. Well, obviously, this sets up the option. I mean, you've got a great opportunity to run the option from here. And if we have a quarterback that can run, we like to have him run, we're going to run a lot of loaded option. If he can't run well, we're not going to load it. Are you with me? In other words, if he can run, we're going to block 3. And let's take a look at this. Now, we get a lot of that, where they rotate to the wide side of the field or to the spread end, more spread end than anybody else. So we get something that looks like that. That double S, the strong safety, is rotated that way, and this is number 3 in there. It's 1, 2, 3. And we're going to run the loaded option. If we feel that these people are not coming upfield, really just taking off coming upfield, we will go through with blocking down and logging. Logging is the technique where you use the opposite shoulder. Instead of kicking out this guy with his left shoulder, he's going to sneak around and use his right shoulder. He's going to log that down. And the left halfback is going to drive for a point 2 yards outside, and he's going to block that guy. And different than we've done in the past, if he gets wood on him, he's going to stay there. So if he went out, he'd stay with him. If he doesn't get wood on him, he'd turn right in and walk back, wall off. And we drive it off here. So that this is called, you'll see more of this. This is called a stalk block by that spread end. He drives off like he's going to be in the pattern, and he would stay with that, like until the guy says, "Hey, this is no pass." And then they get to doing this. And that good spread end that I told you about is he can't be more than 165 pounds. As a matter of fact, it's kind of cute. They brought him in there. I don't knock on doors anymore recruiting. Coaches bring him in. And I saw that guy at breakfast, and I said, "Who on earth brought him in here?" And we had a young guy. Young coach was with us the first year, and he's stuttering. He's going, "Coach, don't say anything. Just wait till you see the tape." So I said, "I'd like to see the tape." I went in there and I looked at it. I said, "He's mine. He's no longer yours. I'm going to keep him." But he's gotten to be a very clever blocker, very effective. And part of it's being able to use your hands. And I'm old enough to remember when you couldn't use your hands. It really helps you. Okay, let's finish this off now. Now the fullback is going to, that's where he would go if he were going to, that's his path if he were going to run the cross block, okay? Now I want him to, with the loaded option, I want him to go a little bit wider. Like that. Once again, the right halfback establishes that pitch position. And I haven't mentioned this to you, but we really tried everything with the motion. We had a long cadence that took care of it, and we did a lot of things to get the guy underway, to get him in the motion in the right place. And I said at one time, I'll never have the quarterback balancing on one foot, sending them. It's the thing to do. So now we're running that guy in motion. He gives it this, and he sees him out of the corner of his eye, and then he calls a cadence. We have three cadence setups. One is sound. We'll just walk out there, and you'll send the guy in motion and say, "Set!" and get the ball. No, just you'll see him flowing, and then yell set. The other is on one, which is even set, which gives you a little rhythmic package for use for different things. So in that case, he'd give him this and say, "Even set," gets the ball. And the third one is check cadence. Check cadence, whatever it is we're doing. It could be, he could call 2 plays in the huddle, in the 2-minute drill. He comes right out and calls it on the line, just yells the numbers out. In that case, the 2-minute drill would make very little effort to confuse anybody, make sure everybody knows what they're doing. Or he could say 1 or 9, which is 1 is our sweep to the right, 9 is the sweep to the left. Very good with the option. He can come out and say 1 or 9, run the option either way, which I'll give you in the second lecture. And then whatever he says, he can come out and say, "Go, set, even set, 41, 49, whatever it is, anything." Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it means something. Sometimes it doesn't. And then he says, "Check." And that settles everybody down. Even those big linemen can handle that. And then they just calmly in there go on 1. Even set, and we go. And I like to kid our line coach about how dumb those linemen are. But he's got that now. They're not dumb. All the dumb ones are playing defense. They're the wild guys with snot running out of their nose. And the offensive guys are very classy-looking guys, clean and neat. Okay, so he's going to ride the ball. He's going to get a deep ride, but he'd come on up in there, so he doesn't want to get too deep, and he comes on out there, and there's the pitch read. And these people are all, regardless of what the spacing is, they're all giving it that. And the quarterback he's executing the option. It's a loaded option. If he can't get outside of 3, he's going to keep it. Just turn right up in there and get it. Once again, I've got a picture of this that I'd like to show you. And however, if 3 is aggressive and he gets outside of 3, and then he can go on up to the strong safety and pitch the ball. So once again, I would remind you, this could be run from red. That is, the wingback is up here. It could be run from right, 89 option load. You can have a lot of fun playing with these guys. And off of this, of course, you can run the Sally. Now, you're out here, and you're that cornerback, and you here it goes again. They get tired of seeing that action. So our favorite pass off of this is 89 keep pass up. Everybody does the same thing. And just picture this little guy out here. He runs out there and does it, and then he just runs up. Quarterback keeps the ball, and one of the earmarks of the wing T is, and I gave you the 4-back offense of that routine at the beginning. We're going to throw off everything. We've got a play. We have at least 1 pass set up off of it, and sometimes 2. That is actions behind it. So we're going to throw off everything, and this is one of them. The other one is if we call up, we'll just come out there and make it look like it's going to be a run, but we call up and flat, then the left halfback would running in the flat, and then you get to that 8-man front, they run out of people. 3 has got to take the quarterback. Somebody's got to seal to take the fullback. 3 has got to take the quarterback. 4 is out there. He's got to be part of that option. He's going to come up and get the ball, and he can play basketball with him. So that is a worth doing. And now let me give you the waggle. The waggle is a staple. Everybody heard the waggle? I got this thing upside down now. You've been here long enough. You know that that's not the 8-man over there. I don't know how he got that way, but it's like that. But I'm upside down. I want to run the other waggle. Here's the waggle. There are 3 plays to the waggle. There are 3 plays. There's the waggle to the tight end. There's the waggle to the spread end with individual cuts. And there's the waggle to the tight end where the tight end is blocking. We call that waggle run. Here is the basic waggle to the tight end. Do you see that defense? Do you see that? Oklahoma? Anybody? No? Do you see that one, that 40 that I had on that? Most of that? And we see most of that. When we bring this guy in motion, we're going to get that anyway. Okay? The tight end's assignment is to release inside. And we've had that old story. The end says, but coach, if I go inside, I can't get out. Why can't you get out? Because the end is all over me. And he just gets all tied up with me. I said, hey, look, I've been watching you block for 4 years. I haven't seen that yet. If you can step inside and get that guy to be all tied up on him, we'll keep that. We'll take that. I don't care. Even though your mother doesn't she likes to see you get out there and catch those touchdown passes. If you go to the inside, you're going to do a good job for us. So he's going to release inside. And then run a flag. The tackle's assignment is gap down on. So this guy in his gap, so he's going to block down. Is this what we've been doing all night? The same thing. We're playing games with this guy in the gap here. The front side guard pulls and hooks. The first thing that he can. Now, if he gets out there and the guy just takes off on, he'll just turn back and block back. And the backside guard is coming along. And he's going to block out. That's a step and cup, that's a step and cup. And the fullback runs up there and skids out into the flat. Now the quarterback is going to reverse pivot, jab the ball, jab fake, and come on out. And as he does, he's going to look at the free safety. If he finds that the free safety is flowing to the middle like he's supposed to, then he knows that he has a reasonable chance of having this side out there outnumbered, and throw the ball to him or into the flat. But if he finds the free safety pick up the tight end, these people fake the sweep over here. And then they'll start to move on up. If that free safety flows in the middle, the left halfback will flow across him and the wideout will go behind him. If the free safety goes that way, then the wingback goes upfield and the wideout stays away from him. Okay? Now, without getting too far off base here, let me show you let me interpret this for you. Suppose I want to run the same play from trips. He's on the line of scrimmage. And however you want to play the defense here. That would be an example. Or the backers or like this. He's there. They say they rotated to it like that. Now I can run the same football play, bringing him back in motion. Come on out, fake, come on up, and now I can play games. With a fullback out in the flat. And these guys are so jumpy about our option and the other stuff we run that we have some freedom there.